It's time to talk sports, time for the show. When you hear this song on the radio, it's time to tune in, better act fast. Let me get that autograph. Potograph, Sports Talk Radio. Starting now.
Let's go. What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 133 of Let Me Get That Potograph. My name, as always, is the DH, and I'm joined again by my awesome co-host, Mr. Scott Rappaport. What's up, man?
Oh, living the dream. Drew, what's going on with you?
Oh, not too much, man. Just finishing up with some elite travel baseball practice. Getting travel baseball ready for the young one.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we're still doing travel soccer up here, which is a year-round thing. So, it's indoor season now.
Nice. Indoor soccer's awesome. I love it. It's always been one of my favorites. But welcome, everybody, to another awesome episode of Let Me Get That Potograph. We've got a jam-packed show for you guys today. Myself and Scott, a lot of topics we're going to run down today, including something new that we're going to be having at the end of the show that we'll touch on a little later. But, Scott, we're going to dive right into it because, like I said, this is the hobby. It doesn't slow down. It only speeds up, and there's been a lot of craziness this week, dude. And apparently, ever since you decided to be a co-host, a lot of people decided to show their true colors in this industry.
Another week, another scam.
Absolutely ridiculous. So,
and I'm gonna be before you get into this one. This is a coin flip between which one is the bigger scam. Was it the Logan Paul Pokemon case, or was it this? Dollar wise, Logan Paul takes the cake, but number of people affected. This one is definitely far-reaching.
Well, before we go any farther, explain to everyone exactly what happened here, because it's a major scandal involving grading, but explain to everybody, kind of exactly what's going on in this situation.
All right, so Mark's Cards out in California, which you guys have probably heard by now.
Yeah.
This broke about a week ago, and everybody and their mother's been talking about it. But, we wouldn't be doing anything justice unless we gave our 2 cents on it.
Exactly.
So they were a bulk submitter for PSA. And as you guys, as most of you probably know, PSA does not charge until after the orders are done.
Right.
Marks, however, was collecting up front when they took submissions, and they had, I think the total was close to $1 million worth of submissions that popped, and they didn't have the money to pay for it. Now, that not only included people that submitted directly to Marks, but that also included cards that were submitted by Card Collector 2 from Instagram, out in Ohio, and that represented like $110,000 worth of cards. Now, the cards, there's more cards in addition to that as well that PSA is sitting on, and they're in the process of, from what the release said,
yes,
getting those cards back to people. We don't know if they're going to be raw or graded when they come back, but ideally, everybody will wind up getting their cards back. The problem is Marks ran off and declared bankruptcy.
Yep. And,
basically used all the money that was given to them by, by the people that submitted cards.
Right.
And used it from everything from what I've heard to opening up a shop, playing poker, paying for expensive meals and wining and dining a bunch of people.
Living the life, hitting every major card show, doing anything that they wanted. I mean, living the the guys. I mean, we all know them. The guys that live that popular cardboard life, and that's what they were doing. I mean, you can see their Instagram, you can see their old stuff and all that. But one thing right away, if you're subbing, and this. Guys and gals that listen to this show, I speak on this so much about educating yourself and working with, trusted people in this industry. I myself work for a group submitter, Walk Off, a sponsor of this show. You do group submissions, Scott. We're both good friends with someone who's one of the biggest bulk submitters in the industry. There's a million very trustworthy group submission companies out there. When I see charging for submissions up front on a PSA subgroup, automatically I'm thinking, whoa, what's going on here? And my red flags will be raised instantly. I think that's a major problem. And guys, you've got to do that type of research, because as you said, Scott, this is not 10 people affected. This is not 15 people affected. This is millions of dollars in grading fees and cards.
This is potentially hundreds of people affected.
Yeah.
Because we don't know now. The cool thing was, Chris, Card Collector 2.
Yes.
He reached out to PSA, flew out there, and flopped down another $110,000 to get his customers' cards released. So all those got released. So his customers are fine. Now he's on the hook for double payment. Marks is supposed to pay him back, but I don't think that's going to happen now. No. He now becomes a creditor in the bankruptcy, as does PSA, and as potentially does, hundreds of other people in various, smaller amounts. So
how do you think PSA handled this?
I think PSA handled it the best that they could.
Yeah.
They were put in a really bad position.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to reference an incident that SGC had, a year and a half ago or so, where one of their bulk submitters didn't do quite the same thing, but something similar.
Yes.
And there were, there's probably $30,000 worth of grading fees, floating around out there. And what SGC ended up doing was they actually graded the cards. Yeah. And I think they were already graded at the time.
Yeah,
but
a lot of them were.
Yeah, yes. They didn't, and they found out who they went to, and they sent them back to the people at no cost. Now those were already graded, and I think SGC handled that very well. Now PSA in this situation, a lot of those cards were not graded.
Yeah.
Now, given their backlog, are they going to grade the cards that are not graded and then ship them out just to take care of the people? Probably not. Right. However, there is probably a lot of those cards that are already assembled. They're already graded. They're in either the assembly phase, the QA1, QA2, and they're getting close. Now, since those are already done, do they send those out graded, or are they going to have somebody take the time and crack them all out and send them back raw since they never got paid for it? And ultimately, I think PSA will wind up collecting some money through the bankruptcy process because they're probably Marks' biggest creditor.
Yeah. Oh, I would say yes on that part.
And I mean, it all depends on what is there left to recover from the business after declaring bankruptcy. Yeah. If he did open a shop with all that, how much is there? How much? I mean, was he dumb enough to commingle funds between his personal accounts and his business accounts? And if that's the case, then it opens up. I mean, forget any corporate protection that's there. It will open up him personally to that liability. He could wind up losing everything: personal collection, his house, car, whatever he had. Could all be lost to this bankruptcy process, depending on whether or not he was, dumb enough to do that. And that's why, when your accountant gives you advice, when your attorney gives you advice, you do it. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But given the bankruptcy process and how long those things take and how, backed up the courts are and things like that, this is probably going to take a minimum of a year to play out. I think PSA is probably going to have their end of it wrapped up as far as getting cards back to customers. I would say no, and this is just an educated guess, depending on how quick people reach out to them and, send them the information that they requested, I would say by the end of February is probably a safe guess. And, it sucks for the people that, paid for the grading, didn't get it graded. The ones that do get back slab cards, hey, they're not really out anything. They're just a little bit of aggravation, things like that, but they're eventually going to get their cards, and those will kind of go by the wayside. PSA will add that to the total that that they're going to file as far as a response, and it'll go from there. But I think I think we'll see a resolution on this in a year, maybe 18 months, and we'll see if anything additional comes out of it, because if it between the commingle of funds, between the use of these funds for gambling, I mean, the IRS may wind up jumping in on this too to see, hey, what are the taxes that they filed?
Well, see, that's one thing that I was thinking of when I looked at this and I saw that these guys are declaring bankruptcy, etc. And I'm somebody that is in this category of people that started new businesses and hobby-related businesses in the last couple of years. A lot of people have done that, and there's a lot of people, including myself, when I started, I did not know what I was doing. I had no clue, but I made sure before I did anything, I made sure as hell I did know what I was doing, and I made sure that I was going to be doing it, or at least going about things the right way. But I think there's a lot of people out there that aren't. And, this hobby is not small anymore. When you have big fish like Mark Cuban, when you have massive companies like ex-Twitter CEOs and people like that involved in this industry, it attaches attention of those government agencies like you're talking about. And so, a couple of years ago saying, the IRS might get involved, most people would laugh and say, yeah, whatever, it's the hobby. That's not the case anymore. That's not where we are anymore. That is a serious possibility, especially with what you've got going on here.
It's like that flyer that's been going around, in the different Facebook groups talking about, the $600 level where you get the 1099 now.
Right.
And, talking about, hey, we'll mark it as like a, repayment for dinner or whatever.
Right.
I'm like, all right, that's all fine and good, but, until the IRS comes to audit you.
Yeah.
And now, granted, they don't have the manpower right now to pull anything like that off.
Right.
But that's eventually going to get fixed, and they can go back 7 years. So what we're doing now could potentially come back to bite you 7 years from now. And this is one of those things where, there may have been tax evasion here. There may have been wire, there could be wire fraud.
Wire, yeah.
Because again, somebody from, let's say, Texas, if they send him cards and, he's out in California, they're not going to, fly out to California and hand the guy cash. They're going to, shoot him PayPal or Venmo or, whatever electronic means. So now we're talking about using the banking system. It could also qualify as money laundering as well.
Yeah.
And, given the dollar amount we're talking about, I mean, these are serious federal charges.
Yeah.
One of the comments somebody made in one of the groups was that, he doesn't have to worry about the criminal charges because they don't prosecute things like this in California. And, and I hated to burst the guy's bubble, but, this is not state charge things. These are federal charges. And the feds are going to come down on this guy pretty hard, if it gets to that point where, and it's all going to come out in the bankruptcy process, because the bankruptcy court is going to be looking at everything. The trustee that's assigned to this represents, the creditors and the government, and any evidence that he finds of anything criminal is, going to be forwarded on, for a recommendation for investigation and prosecution.
And let's be honest, a lot of people were affected by this. A lot of people's friends were affected by this. And we know how the people are in the hobby. They're not going to let this go away. They're not going to let those people that are in charge forget about this stuff. They're going to make sure it's on. They're going to make sure it's on their mind and that they're doing their job.
The worst part about this whole thing is that it really, PSA had to put in certain procedures now.
Yeah.
As far as, deposits being put down, or, frankly, if you got a, like the friend of ours who runs one of the largest PSA bulk subs, maybe not do a deposit on each order because he's submitting so many orders, but maybe have like an escrow account, that he's got money, that PSA is just going to hold, and whatever that dollar amount is. But, the guys that have been playing it straight, paying, and taking care of all the, the billing for it and, things like that, it really is going to screw them.
Yeah.
Because now they all of a sudden have to come up with, X dollar amount or whatever to be able to put into, a deposit or an escrow or, something like that with PSA in order for these orders to move forward. They always talk about one bad apple ruining the bunch. This is the prime definition of that.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, it's a complete and total mess. But yet another week and yet another scam. Hopefully, when we start off the show next week, we will not be talking about another massive scam in this industry.
It's coming.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
I know. It really
we have a week. We have a week.
Exactly.
You know, there's something that's going to drop. It may not be as big, but there's definitely something that's going to drop.
Yeah.
And we're going to wind up starting off next week's show with it, most likely.
Yeah, probably. It'll be, I think it's going to come on, and it just coincidentally happens to be when you start the show. Anyway. But we're going to move on now, from something a little, disturbing and upsetting to something positive and awesome. A couple of weeks ago, this wasn't positive and awesome, but Tracy Hackler, of course, left Panini, and then it got awesome when he announced that he teamed up with Jimmy Mahan and Kentucky Roadshow Cards, and they're doing their thing. But the big question out there was, who's going to replace Tracy? Tracy was the face of Panini. Tracy, I talked about it on episodes of this show, multiple episodes of other shows and everything, that Tracy was, and his role is the most important role in that company. It's the face of the company. It's who people associate with the company. Next to the people that are packing out the actual cards and doing the designs, that role, and to most people, is the most important. So it was very interesting to see who they were going to choose to replace Tracy, and that those were really big shoes to fill. Well, this week Panini did announce who was replacing Tracy, and I've got to give Panini a hand because they knocked it out of the ballpark with this one, in my opinion. Scott, I want to know what you think in a minute, but with announcing that they are hiring, you guys know him as Pat Geek, but one of the OGs of content creation and a great friend of mine, Mr. Jeff Hoffer, is taking over for Tracy Hackler. So what do you think about that, Scott?
I like Jeff.
Yeah.
Got nothing but positive things to say about Jeff. I don't think it's the most important position at Panini, though. Okay. Nor do I think the most important position is the people that pack out cards. I think the most important people at Panini are the ones that fulfill redemptions.
Yeah.
That need to get their asses in gear and start shipping stuff out.
I meant in terms of like a card company's presence in the world. Like,
of course. I agree with that, but there's some things that need to be fixed at Panini, and hopefully Jeff can give him a swift kick in the ass, because those are things that there's two things that they need to fix. They need to fix quality control, because I shouldn't be opening a pack of Prism and finding a card that is like a trapezoid,
right?
As far as now, I'm not saying every card's got to be perfect.
Right. No.
But there are certain things that, really have to be done. And the other thing is they really need to fix the redemption and replacement process.
Yes.
Because, I've had redemptions sitting out there for, I think my longest one's 3 years. I know a guy who's actually got one sitting out there since 2011.
Yeah.
And I don't think Andy Dalton ever signed those damn cards either. But he can make an impact and make a do something positive as far as the brand goes by just working on that, add some extra people, maybe go try to like corner some of these athletes that haven't signed in like a back alley somewhere.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, a couple of things that you had just mentioned there, I think for one thing, Jeff's going to be wonderful for the marketing aspect. He's got an incredible communications and broadcasting background. His marketing background is extraordinary. So I think he's really, where Tracy excelled and where Panini excelled in creating that experience for people. I think he's going to have, at the National, I think the Panini booth and everything, which Tracy had a major hand in creating that whole experience and everything. Jeff is going to make something that's going to be just as good in my eyes. I think in the creative areas, absolutely. The problem, I think, with the redemptions, now Topps doesn't have this issue anymore because they've got Fanatics. Fanatics is in it with the league. The new deals give the players rights to wear. It gives players incentives to sign. But Panini doesn't really have that leverage. Like, you can't, okay, so you've got these redemptions, unless they're an exclusive Panini athlete, unless they're exclusively signed to Panini, are you really going to go up to one of these major guys and risk ruining your relationship with them over an Optic Redemption set of maybe 30 cards that they didn't sign? You know, I don't see it from that company. I just don't think they have the leverage to do that, do they?
Usually it's not, 30 cards.
No, but you know what I mean.
It's usually in the thousands, and in some of the sports they do have the leverage because they.
Well, remember, it took Julio Jones. Julio Jones decided 11 years. 11 years later, and he finally signed his cards. He fulfilled it. It took 11 years, but he did it. I mean, what they really need to do, because there's contracts in place with all these athletes for to sign these cards, big time,
and maybe Julio just needed the money, because I don't know if they pay him up front or pay him back or whatever. Maybe Julio needed some cash and said, "Hey, I'll just sign a bunch of these cards." But there's contracts in place, and they really need to fulfill the contracts. But the other part of the problem is, and I know this is the case because I've had a redemption out there for a year, and there are live ones out there, and it's not for an on card; it's a sticker auto. Which is a whole nother issue, but that's not a Panini thing. Yeah. That's an industry thing. And I understand why it's there, but the card exists.
Right.
It's sitting in a vault. And if it doesn't have the sticker on it already, I'm sure there are sheets of stickers just sitting there with this, it's Luis Robert.
That's the problem.
With his autograph. And that's the problem. I'm not, when I say there's issues and all that kind of stuff, I'm not talking about, getting the athletes to sign. I'm talking about, things like that, or the, 2 replacement cards that were, I think they were like Orange Prism football. That were so miscut. Like, they're base cards. They're not autographs. Like, they don't need to be, replaced with, something we're waiting on an athlete to sign. Yeah. This is the stuff that needs to be fixed. If you're waiting on the athlete to sign for, years and years and years, okay, that's fine. That's a whole separate issue.
Right.
There's not much Jeff can probably do about that. Yeah. But when it comes to time to, fulfillment and replacement and things like that, that falls solely into marketing.
Because it really can sour a collector's experience when you look on eBay, because collectors will hop on eBay to see if any other person has gotten theirs fulfilled yet, if they have one ready. And when they see 20 of them on there and they don't have theirs, I mean, that's going to sour anyone's opinion on it, because, like you said, they're sitting in a vault, just sitting there, but they're not.
And then, to make it worse, nobody's responding to emails.
Right.
Nobody's answering the phone. And that's an easy fix.
Yeah.
That is the easiest fix
of all. It's the easiest fix in the world.
I just want somebody to tell me where it is in the process.
Yeah.
I want to pick up the phone within a reasonable amount of time. If I got to hold for 10 minutes, all right, fine, that's 10 minutes. But right now, I know people that have sat on hold for weeks, 4 or 5 hours, and nobody has picked up the phone. They got to fix that. And that goes 100% towards marketing and branding, and it is a major negative on the brand. And hopefully, like I said, Jeff can come in and and make an impact in that area.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I hope that that's something that can be improved, and I agree. It is something that, I mean, this was even before the hobby was popular. It was an issue. It was an issue 5 years ago. I mean, it was even worse almost. Now there's a little bit more, but it's such an incredibly easy fix. But like you said, it does go back to the marketing and the branding. But an amazing new hire at Panini. Kudos once again, Panini. Golf clap for you here on Let Me Get That Potograph, because Jeff is a wonderful, wonderful hire, and it gives me at least hope for Panini moving forward, at least in the marketing and branding department. But guys, we'll be right back after these messages. And welcome back, everybody, to episode 133 of Let Me Get That Potograph. And it is time now for the segment that is still taking the nation by storm. You know what I'm talking about. It's that time. It's time for Movers and Shakers. All right, so Mr. Scott, second week here on Movers and Shakers. Last week you had some interesting ones. I got to admit, grabbed a couple of Acuñas. So you convinced me on a couple, and I know a couple other people probably did also. But once again, guys, if you have never heard of Movers and Shakers or listened before, this is the segment segment where we're going to give you a couple of guys that we think are good investments in the hobby. Good guys to go after, maybe even down, as Scott did yesterday, last week, called an audible and went all the way down to an exact card. So, Scott, I'm going to let you kick it off once again this week with movers and shakers.
All right, so I am going to go outside of the traditional 4 sports on this one here.
Nice.
And do something a little bit different. So, World Cup is coming up this summer.
Mm-hmm.
Over under on how many players pass out from heat stroke out playing in the Middle East for that one is still unknown. But I've got my first mover and shaker is, and I always butcher this guy's last name because it's got the damn N in front of it. Christopher Kunku.
Yes.
Or maybe
good job. Good job.
Thank you. So, dude is with Leipzig in Bundesliga, and he plays for France, which is part of the French national team for the World Cup. The dude is currently in the Champions League standings, as I'm having a hard time with my mouse here. He's currently sitting third in goals, behind Sebastian Haller and Robert Lewandowski. So I actually thought about going with Sebastian Haller from Ajax as my first mover.
You can't go wrong with either of the first two.
No, and I think Kunku is a guy who is going to be one to watch, especially with the the remainder of the Champions League left to play. Leipzig's doing all right in Bundesliga, and France is always a contender for the World Cup. So his stuff is cheap right now, like dirt cheap right now. Highly worth picking up, and it's he's actually one of those guys that I got to go through one of the many soccer boxes I got sitting here and see what I've got for him and pull those aside.
Nice. Yeah, I love that pick. I think it's excellent. Like you said, he's producing right now. A lot of production in a high-powered league. World Cup coming up. Soccer, everyone that listens to this show or any show knows how big I am in the soccer market. I think that is an absolutely incredibly good pick, and a sneaky one. And that's what movers and shakers really is all about, is finding those guys that aren't the Anthony Edwards and people like that. Anyone can tell you that, but I like that pick a lot. And with FC Leipzig, they're performing quite a bit, but World Cup stage, it's gonna put major eyes all over the soccer market, as well as the future of the soccer industry, the future of national teams. People aren't even going to be playing on these national teams. You're going to see massive rises around World Cup time, because you want to see the international effect on the market. Wait till the World Cup happens, and then you'll see what can happen when the international market gets involved. So excellent pick right there for your first one. And it's funny because we're staying in soccer with my first mover and shaker here.
I think I know where you're going with this.
You know exactly where I'm going with
I actually thought about using this one as well, but I decided differently.
Yeah, there's only one way to go for me, and that is Ryan Sharkey. Now, Sharkey currently plays in League One for Lyon, and he's been touted as one of the best ever prospects. He is incredibly young, being born just in 2003, and he's really just getting started in his entire professional career. However, everywhere he goes, he has produced. Every time he's played, he has produced. In his limited action up high, he has produced. Now, the big reason I say go after him is he has one card. He has one rookie card, and that is a 2019 Topps Now card that was made with a print run of right under 3,000. So there are 3,000, literally under
2,942 to be exact.
There you go. So just a little under 3,000 rookie cards of this guy. He's a touted can't-miss prospect. They've used the rookie card logo, so Topps, at least as long as he stays in Topps league areas, isn't using that rookie card on him anymore. I think his card value, having so few cards, and he's going to be the Mbappe, he's going to be the Erling, he's going to be that type of guy in the next year or so. So he's not a short-term play by any means. He's not a 3-month play, but I see him as someone whose cards are so incredibly really low at a PSA 10 right now, even with the low pop, that it's a no-brainer not to in my eyes. So Rayon Cherokee, for me, I think Panini is probably going to find some way to get him in and get a rookie card logo in. But no matter what, just like Pepe in MLS, he doesn't have a rookie card stamp on him, but the cards are the most high in demand cards there are out there. When Cherokee has a full card market, watch out, because he's going to take over one of those top spots.
Well, now that Ricardo Pepi is playing in Europe, he'll wind up in one of those sets. But if Cherokee, playing in League One, Panini does have the contract for League One.
Exactly.
So, I have a feeling we will see a rookie card stamp from him.
Yeah, I think we do, and that's why I think Topps Now is the way to go. And if it's me, I'll even narrow it down to like you did last week with one card. Go grab that Topps Now.
Well, you don't have a choice, because that's all he's got is one card.
Yeah, but grab it now. Grab it now. Don't wait.
Well, when I went with that one card, getting really specific with the Acuna, he's got like 20 other cards throughout the entire, top set from, series from that year. This dude literally has one card.
Touche. He has a sticker. No. All right, so your next mover and shaker, my man.
All right, I am staying outside of the Big Four Sports again.
Wow, I like this.
And no, this is getting good. This is a guy from a sport that is near and dear to my heart. I am rolling with Harrison Burton in NASCAR. He is making the full-time move up from the Xfinity Series, and he is driving the famed number 21 car for the Wood Brothers. That car has a ton of history.
Mm-hmm.
Harrison's family has a ton of history.
Yes.
As Jeff Burton is his father. And he, I believe, is the first driver born in the 2000s to make his Cup Series debut.
He is. When you live in a place called Wilkesboro, which is known as the birth of NASCAR, you learn all these little facts. You are correct, good sir.
And and that is correct. I am not anywhere near there, but I did have a little bit of involvement back in the sport back in the early 2000s. And, I used to follow it a lot closer than I do now, but I really like what I've seen out of Harrison Burton. Had a great season last year in the Xfinity Series, and I'm seeing big things coming out of him. He's gonna be one of two rookies driving full time in the Cup Series this year. So it's 50-50 shot on whether or not he wins Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. That's awesome. He's runner up at least. At least he'll always have runner up Rookie of the Year on his.
That's exactly what I was thinking. He's always going to finish number 2 in the voting, I guess. But I just like what I see.
Mm-hmm.
And just, Austin Cindric, by the way, is the other rookie who's going to be running with Penske, which should be pretty good. But I haven't looked up to see what Harrison Burton has as far as cards go. I'm sure he's got something, given that he's spent some time in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, he has a couple. It looks like he's got a couple. It looks like he's got a couple from this year, all 2021 products. So this year they did put him in National Treasures and Prism, it looks like. So he's got a couple of things, but from what you're saying and being a rookie and everything, he seems incredibly underpriced, even though he sells pretty well. Some of his stuff sells very well, but I also see a lot of good deals there. Full disclosure, not... as in tune, pun intended, with NASCAR as I should be, at least in terms of the current product. Now, historical aspect is different. Having said that, I do know the history of the car, and I know how NASCAR collectors are, and that's going to be a big deal. I see that as a massive plus in his factor, adding into the fact that obviously he's going to be one of the literal 2 guys that's going to be leading the rookie chase. He's going to have extra attention put on him in the hobby. I like that. If you're looking in the NASCAR market, I think that's a wonderful place to look, especially after looking at some of his cards and some of the stuff that he's got out right now. So, that's actually someone that I don't know a lot about, but I like the pick. And
arguably, again, history plays a big part in NASCAR, and arguably that 21 car, that Wood Brothers car, is probably second historically to Richard Petty's number 43. Obviously the more recent history, you got Jeff Gordon, the 24, Jimmy Johnson, the 48. I mean, even as much as I hate to say it, Kyle Busch in the 18, but that Wood Brothers 21 car is as historic as it gets. And I'm looking forward to seeing Harrison Burton put that thing back in victory lane again, because I think the Wood Brothers could use a good pickup, in the 2022 season.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great pick. Like I said, not too familiar with the current NASCAR, but at that era and at that line, I absolutely love it. All right, so I'm going to be going over to finish it up today in the main four sports, and we're going to be going with a name that is familiar to a lot of people, and a lot of people have varying opinions on him. My opinion on him has varied up and down forever, but he is the starting quarterback for the Carolina North Bills, and that is Josh Allen. Josh Allen is my mover and shaker this week. Josh Allen, yesterday, showed me everything that I needed to see in a quarterback, even in that loss. One of the best football games. First off, let me give a hand to all the football games this weekend. You want to talk about awesome football? That was a great weekend of football. Kudos to every single team, even the ones that lost. There were some incredibly good football games. But
I specifically want to point out kudos to my man Robbie Gould.
Yes.
As a Bears fan, we still love Robbie Gould, even though he's playing with the Niners. But
of course,
anytime you can walk up to Lambeau Field and knock the Packers out of the playoffs with a last-second kick, I'm all for that. And
there you go.
He lives 5 minutes down the road from me here, so
sweet.
I'm not going to knock on his door now because he's not home. But when after the season's over, I am definitely going to go send him a thank you basket or something.
Very nice.
Because I love that. But no, you're right. All the games were great this weekend. And frankly, I think that Bills-Chiefs game yesterday may turn out to be a better game than what the Super Bowl made.
Anything we see.
Than anything we see in the Super Bowl with the remaining teams that are out there.
I agree. And that's why I think you saw Josh Allen's been one of those guys where it's always, can he put it all together? Like, we know he has the talent. We know he can do everything. We've seen him do it, but he goes on these lulls. And he went on a year and a half lull at the beginning, for a while there. And then he finally got it together. But then this year, struggled mightily and then started to pick it back up as the season progressed. But yesterday, 73% completion rating, 4 touchdowns, 330 yards, 136 quarterback rating, no interceptions, and you just want to talk about poise. I mean, now Patrick Mahomes, we all know Pat Mahomes, and we all know what they're going to do, and we all knew as soon as they kicked the ball and gave him the ball and gave the ball Mahomes, you knew what was going to happen. But that Josh Allen drive down there at the end and the poise, the touchdown throw, which was pinpoint precision, beautiful. I saw everything I needed to from Josh Allen, and his stuff it's up there. It's not cheap. You're going to have to reach into your pocket, but you can still get some lower end stuff like and a base optic or so is over $100 or so, for raw, a little more graded. There's still some very affordable stuff, but Josh Allen's going to win some Super Bowls. Josh Allen's going to have some rings.
They may come down a little bit in the next couple of weeks now that they're out. And with off season coming up,
But I see him and Joe Burrow. I see those two guys as the quarterbacks next year with the most hype going into the year.
I agree.
Because with all the people that you've got, you're going to have a lot of quarterbacks leaving. You're going to have a couple quarterbacks that are vets either retiring or changing teams. You're going to have a couple that probably may end up retiring. You're going to have a couple that are just going to end up losing starting jobs, and you're going to have the real big hype going into it obviously is going to be how Trevor Lawrence is going to perform. But I think the big question is, and the big guys that are going to get that attention are Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. And Joe Burrow is such an obvious pick. I can't pick him for movers and shakers, so that's why I'm going with Josh Allen.
No, and I actually thought you were going to go with Burrow just because they're still in it.
No, well, Burrow's too obvious. I mean, I've been shouting Burrow from the rooftops since before the draft. Like, just buy him. If people don't know it by now, I'd feel disingenuous to pick him for movers and shakers.
I'll be honest with you. Burrow had me when, after after LSU won the championship, and the pictures came out of him sitting there smoking a cigar in the locker room afterwards. I'm like, yeah, he's my guy. But I've been watching. I think Josh Allen's a phenomenal pick. I've been watching him all year because he was my starting fantasy quarterback for my championship-winning team. So I've got a good grasp on what he can do. Yeah. What his potential is, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he comes up with next year. I think Buffalo just needs a couple more decent receivers, and I think they're going to be a team to be reckoned with.
If they can get anybody on the outside that can keep people from shading that safety over to Stephon Diggs on every single play, then they're golden. They need a little bit of help on the defensive side. They need a little bit of help on the line still, but they were banged up with injuries. I could still go with a stronger running game from them, but I think they have a running game that's developing quite well. But I don't think you need all that with Josh Allen. I think he's one of those guys that he's a quarterback that can transcend a team. And yesterday you saw a battle of what I think is going to be. This weekend you saw 3 quarterbacks that I think are going to lead the league, and that was Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow. And out of the 3 of them, Allen obviously having the least amount of attention. I think there is a major chance to grab Allen for a very good price. Once again, you probably, being a quarterback, want to make him a long-term hold. But even at short-term stuff, his stuff's going to bounce up like crazy with good games. If he starts off next year with a 3 or 4 touchdown game, his stuff's going to skyrocket.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that.
All right, well, that is going to do it for this week's edition of Movers and Shakers, guys. So definitely go check out some of those the guys' cards that were mentioned on today's show. And as always, we will be back next week with another episode of Movers and Shakers. But before we wrap up the show today, we've got a couple more things to talk about, Scott. And this wasn't really on the calendar until today when Topps released their release date calendar. Haha. But as I mentioned, Topps put out their release date calendar today. And of course, you looked down, you looked across through it, you saw everything being postponed, you saw everything that should have been out 4 months ago still not out, you saw a million things with TBD next to the name, and then you saw something that stood out very, very, very obvious, and that would be that
Bundesliga Stadium Club Chrome.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's a great product. I was not expecting that one, but that's not the one you were going to bring up.
No, I agree. I am looking forward to Bundesliga Chrome, and I did not expect them to do a Stadium Club Chrome for them as well. So I'm excited to see and hopefully see more Bundesliga full-on sets this year. But no, that is not the one that stood out the most to me. That would be the 2021-2022 Topps Overtime Elite Chrome Basketball set for release March 18th. One of the only products on here with a set release date.
Actually, and to tie on to that, and I know that's not the one we were originally going to be talking about, but Topps Overtime Elite Inception is going to be coming out 12 days after Chrome. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yes. So we went from Topps Now to this. Well, I mean, I didn't think the Topps Now stuff was doing all that phenomenal, but
I think they're, because a lot of these guys that are, now that you can, this product is a sole result of NIL.
Yes.
And actually, maybe it's not, because again, this Overtime Elite was not meant to be like an amateur thing. These guys were, going to be getting paid anyway. But this is interesting. This is one of those products that is either going to be a massive success, or it's going to be a massive failure, or there's a third option. It could end up being one of those products like, Prism Draft or, Chronicles Draft, where it does well for there's like a short shelf life as to where the product, the individual cards and things like that sell really well. I'm excited, though, to see Topps Chrome back in a sport other than baseball. And don't get me wrong, I love Topps Chrome baseball.
Right.
But I am much more a fan of Topps Chrome than I am of Panini Prism or Optic. I think they do a better job with, quality control. They do a better job with the card design, the images that they license for the product and things like that. And I'm curious as to whether or not the image quality, the different action shots and things like that they may wind up getting or may not be getting, because there's not 50 photographers at every single one of these Overtime Elite games.
Yeah. Now that's what's going to be interesting, and that's what shocked me about this being a full-on put it on the release calendar. Like, I mean, they drop massive products that don't hit the release calendar, and you're dropping 2 huge full sets of Overtime Elite. Now, Inception's always a short run product for every time they put it out, so it's going to be a short run, tiny amount of stuff, probably 1 or 2 RPAs, an auto set, a base set, and then maybe an insert set, and that's it. It'll be real quick, really, really easy. But I'm like you. My biggest thing was I'm excited just for the fact to hear Chrome basketball. I want to see the first steps towards how Chrome is going to look in this modern age. Obviously the designs are going to be completely different. There'll be logos. There'll be so many different things, but we'll start to get that feel of Topps Chrome basketball fully coming back. And like you said, comparing it to the Prism counterparts that people think are legendary cards but have really been out maybe a decade, Topps Chrome really does have that step above in that feel. But I'm curious to see how people attach with Overtime Elite, just because of what Overtime Elite is. It's so small, it's so set off, exactly what it's going to be. It kind of reminds me almost of when Panini did hockey with 2 players.
And that was, obviously that was a non-licensed, product at that point. But, they literally, you can go on their website, and they did, you can buy a couple of Panini hockey cards, and it's literally just 2 guys in it. Yeah. But hey, you were guaranteed an autograph.
Yes.
So, it wasn't that bad. But I don't know. I think this is going to be interesting because it kind of surprises me that Panini didn't go after the license for it, given that they've got all the other basketball. Mm-hmm. As far as the design goes, I'm excited to see what they come up with. Or are they just going to borrow the baseball design, and do like what Panini does with Prism, where, the Prism design is kind of shared amongst all the sports for that given year.
I hope they go. I really, really hope that they go. And that's my biggest complaint with Topps Chrome. And Brody the Kid actually brought this up on Hobby Hotline when I was on with him a few weeks ago. He said by the time he got to update this year, he said he was so worn out with the design that he didn't even want to look at the cards. He didn't want to open them. And this is Topps spokesman saying this, that he was so worn out with looking at the design because it's on so many other products in addition to baseball, that he was just worn out and didn't care, when normally it's the most exciting thing to him. And for the kids to think that, obviously the adults are going to be thinking the exact same thing if kids are getting worn out to that design. And so I hope that they really do take a different route here. And I think they are. What I think that I see Topps doing here with this is building out, because basketball is going to go through a transition in the next couple years. They're going to move away from college basketball heavily, and there's going to be massive arenas of almost minor league basketball. The NBA has been trying to position this in the CBA and everything. They're developing they've got an A, B, C, D, E, F, G, almost an entire alphabet of NBA developmental leagues. Now, I mean, they're building up a minor league system in the NBA, and it's going to be launched in the next decade or so. And I kind of see Topps positioning this as the Bowman, as kind of like the prospecting area of basketball.
Yeah, and Drew, I'm going to massively disappoint you right here, because I have the sell sheet for Chrome Overtime Elite, and it basically borrows the 2021 baseball design.
Yeah.
There is a cool insert in there, though. It's the Topps 1969 insert with the player's photo in the middle of a circle.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, it's a cool looking insert.
Now, is it the basic design, or is it the MLS and the Bundesliga Chrome designs? They did have 2 technically.
Yeah, I always have a hard time telling the difference, but this looks looks more.
If it's got a border, it's the regular one.
Yeah,
so.
it's a border. It's got a border.
Yeah. Well, that's disappointing, and that's just something that I hope they change, because that comment from Brody really hit home when I heard a young kid say that. And I never really thought about it, but with Chrome and everything, a legendary brand like that, especially now if Topps is going to be producing all these main sports, and they're not going to be, because they're not going to be throwaway products. They're not going to be unlicensed junk no one wants. It's the licensed stuff. If they have the exact same design for everybody, I think that's a big problem. So I understand the Overtime Elite thing, even though throwing the Bowman name on it and keeping the Topps Chrome design is a little weird to me.
But no, this isn't Bowman.
That's
Topps
true.
product.
That this is Topps Chrome. Yeah. See,
you're thinking prospects with baseball if they were to throw a Bowman name on there. But no, this is different. And I'm
crazy interesting product.
Yeah, and I'm going through the refractor list, and it looks like it's pretty standard. Superfractor 101, red to 5, black to 10. A couple of hobby exclusives, including.
Wow, so that means there's a retail.
Yep,
Wow.
There's 2 orange refractors. One of them is the standard orange refractor, and then there's a hobby exclusive orange basketball refractor, and it looks like the background of the card is a basketball.
Oh, cool.
It looks like the rest of them are standard, they're pretty standard cards.
Yeah.
As far as numbering goes, because like sometimes when you switch sports, you change the numbering a little bit. Blue refractor though is to 99. Gold is still to 50.
It sounds very similar to where they had their basketball before they lost the license before. Basketball
Correct.
was always around that before, and black was always pretty low. And obviously this isn't going to have a ton of parallels, so I could see them lowering it there. It's quite interesting to keep the same design.
It's actually 16 parallels.
Wow.
16 color parallels. And 6 of them are hobby exclusives. Then there's base set image variations.
I'm surprised about the retail option, but that's...
we don't know if it's retail. Because remember, with certain products like Bowman Draft is a good example. Orange is what they refer to as hobby exclusive, but the hobby is the jumbo box.
Right.
But they're not in the super jumbo.
Okay.
But that's not. Fair. But there's still no retail, even though they list the oranges as hobby exclusive. So it's a little bit different. There may not be a retail, although I think it would be. I think this product is probably prime for a retail release.
Yeah, hey, if you're gonna bring Topps Chrome basketball back in, I mean you got to get some eyes on it. I mean, I'd put it in retail if you're gonna go all out and make it a full on all out set with that many refractors. You might as well. I mean, you have nothing left to lose at that point. You might as well make it a retail release. But we'll see what they do. But very interesting, 2 products, Topps Chrome making its return, and then Inception, both with Overtime Elite on the calendar, coming in March, really soon, not long.
I'm shocked they're releasing those 2 products within 12 days of each other, and obviously that's subject to change as the release calendar often does.
I'm blown away.
But I think that I would have thought that they would have spaced that out a little bit more.
Yes. I have no clue why they're not, unless they're going to dive right into 2022 stuff. These are 2021, 2022s. I have no clue why I don't know why they're doing 8 days apart. That's, the calendar's not going to be full of Overtime Elite products this year, let's face it. There's not going to be 30 products. So putting them that close together is interesting to say the least, unless there's some other type of plan in place around them working together, working around, I don't know, Overtime Elite scheduling and events. Maybe it works out around certain things they've got going on. I don't know, maybe it has some type of marketing logistics outside of that, but 12 days apart's awfully odd. You really gotta hope people like what they're pulling in Topps Chrome, otherwise Inception's gonna absolutely bomb, because you're not even gonna give people a chance to get the sour taste out of their mouth before you throw more at them. So you better pray that first release knocks it out of the park if you're putting them 12 days apart.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%.
All right, so it's going to be interesting one way or the other, but we are getting Topps Chrome in another sport beyond baseball. That era is finally beginning. Topps moving into some other sports, overtime, elite coming, lots of major stuff happening. But guys, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Let Me Get That Potograph. But before we wrap it up, we've got a new segment that we are going to be bringing to the show. And I'm actually going to let my new co-host here tell you a little bit about the brand new segment coming to Let Me Get That Potograph.
This is going to be a fun one. We're bringing the mailbag.
Yes.
So what we want to see from you guys is hop on the Instagram page, the Facebook page, post a comment, send a DM, and we're going to take some of the best ones that are sent to us, and we're going to read them and respond to them, or maybe just laugh at them. Depending on how ridiculous they are. We'll shout out to, the ones that we wind up reading. And, so make them good, play some humor, ask a question, anything you guys want to say, shoot it over. And, we're going to take a handful of the best ones and, read them, have a little fun with them, probably at the end of the show next week.
Yes, absolutely, guys. We're going to start it next week. Don't worry. I will make posts also where you can leave some comments, but feel free anytime to hit up all the DMs, like he said, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, anywhere. It does not matter. Hit up the DMs and just leave a question, leave a comment, anything. We'll pick some. We'll read them here on air every once in a while, and hopefully get some fun stuff out of it and get some questions that you guys, I know, have that, maybe you don't get answered on Hobby Hotline or any of the other shows. But speaking of Hobby Hotline, of course, Hobby Hotline is every Saturday at 11 a.m. and every Tuesday we got Hobby Hotline overtime at 9 p.m. Then we also have Let Her Rip coming to you this week. It'll be coming to you on Wednesday. And of course, we've got the Hobby in 60 every single day live over on the Vintage Breaks channels. But Scott, my man, episode number 2 down, brother. We had to deal with another scam, but another interesting week in the hobby, man. It's been a pleasure so far. Hope you're enjoying yourself, my dude.
Absolutely. Just can't wait to see what shoe drops on the scam front this week. Hopefully nothing, and we'll get a chance to take up that part of the show with another topic that's a little bit more interesting. But no, definitely enjoying being here and looking forward to many more episodes as we go along.
Awesome. Well, absolutely looking forward to having you as well. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Let Me Get That Potograph. But you guys know the deal. Keep ripping those packs, pulling those hits. We'll talk to you next week. Peace.